Hey, how's it going, everyone? Yeah, we're going to continue on this Technics system that I picked up sometime during the summer, and I'm finally getting to it. We just finished up the CD player. It's working. The integrated amplifier SU-V96, it works really well. Now we're to the stereo double cassette deck, RS-T17. This one plays. Both decks play. This is one of those ones that really snaps open. Rewind doesn't work. And deck B, rewind, is really sluggish. You can see it starting and stopping. So you know what that means. I'm sure everyone knows that we got to put belts on it. Normally, that's what we have to do on these cassette decks. This is a nice deck. Just basic. Has your dubbing, editing speed. You know, you can record from one to the other. We have playback on B and record and playback on A. Now I'm not sure, can we dub on this one? I said so, but I don't think you can. I think all you can, yeah, nope, Dolby NR, nope. I think all we can do is record off of like another component. I think we can record from like a CD to deck A, or radio to deck A. Auto space control, auto tape select, one touch recording. So I think we can't dub from one to the other, I don't think. Doesn't say it on here, and I don't have the book on it. But I'm sure somebody out there knows if you can dub from one to the other. But I'm gonna clear everything off the bench here, and we're gonna tear down our stereo double cassette deck RS-T17 and put belts on it and get it working like it should. So I'm going to get you set up, and we're going to get tearing down. Alright, just at a kind of a glance here, I studied it a little bit. Looks like we can get the decks out of this without removing the whole face. I'm thinking. We have our big ribbon cables. Well, I call them ribbons. These ones you push down on the back of the terminal, and it releases them. And I can't get my fingers all the way in there. That and that. And we have one here, and three little ones. That one doesn't want to release. I don't want to pull on them too hard because the wires are small. Should be two to deck A, because that's the one that records. And we have screw holding the deck. 2 screws holding the deck in on the bottom. Screw into the bottom. And then looks like we have one in the face there, and one in the face there. Now you know I'm not going to get lucky and that's going to be it. You know we'll have to take the face off of it. Yep. Not that lucky. There's 2 on the bottom of the deck that you can't get to unless you remove the face. Okay. Yeah, it was a thought. I think we got a potload of screws on the bottom. Those 2 on the other deck on screw into the bottom have to come off, come out. Always one. Okay, clip. Now some of these wires are soldered in. And the board. Do you think there's enough rope on that one if we release that one? Yeah. These are individual decks on this one, so there's no common belt. So we're gonna, so each deck has the same problem with the same belt. What do we got? That one has a indicator. That's deck B. A has an indicator on it. Let's see, we can take the counter belt off. I don't think I had to take the... Nope, the counter can be put back on. Alright. Alright, let's see if we can figure out how to get to our belts. Looks pretty self-explanatory. Let me move you up just a bit. There you go. I think we have two Phillips and two little Phillips to remove the... This is what detects that there's a tape in, and it also detects whether or not you can record on one. There's little tabs on top of your cassettes that let this one little lever will push down. If it goes all the way in, it turns on, and then you can record. But if it has not been removed, you can't record. But we need to get this little circuit board out of the way so we can get at our belts. Let's see, there's enough wire that we can move that right out of the way. Now we can somewhat get to our belts. Okay, this one's going to be a little difficult. That one doesn't feel all that bad. That one does. There's a flat one in here too. You can see we have one here going back to the motor. The flat one goes to the motor, and then on the bottom of the flywheel comes out to this one here. We can't. Let's see, it's hooked and hooked. But we take those two out. Now we can get at them here. We can get at the flat belt. Right through the bottom here. Can kind of get to that other one. Okay, in order to get that flat belt, the motor bracket has to come up off of here because there's two guides down in here that you can't get the belt around. It has to, there's two guides here and here, and they protrude down, and you can't get the belt on unless those are out of the way. So we are going to have to remove the motor bracket, and it looks like these two little ones here on this side, it looks like this one here is the only one that goes all the way down through and is holding. But there's also a little bitty spring. Okay. There. And it looks like that one in the middle. Yeah. But we have a wee little itty bitty spring that holds the door in the front in place. So let's see if we can leave that little spring on, and see, now we can get at. Still going to be a pain, but it is much better. Now we can get the belt around those guides. Yeah, sure. There's one. Doesn't feel that bad. There's the flat belt, which just about lost its elasticity. Now can we, yeah, probably if I cut that little zippy tie, or we flip that up out of the way. And here's our other belt. That's the counter belt. Don't forget that. Okay, there's our 3 belts that we need for the deck itself. And I will, you can't see it anyway. How about if I do that? There's our 3 belts that we need. One flat, Yeah, I got some rain today. You watched me get the flat belt on. That other little one that goes on this pulley and down over was such a pain. I was all over the place. I had the deck up, down, around. So I just went ahead and turned the camera off and got it put in where it belongs. Let me get this screw in. And gotta make sure those switches are in the right place. This one's good. There's little switches, little leaf switches. See, there's little leaf switches here. It's that little clear tab there. There's one there, and there's another one up inside. You have to make sure those, you're not bending them over when you're putting that back down on. Now, how I got that belt on was I hooked it on the pulley and then pulled it up through the opening here, and every time I was pulling it up with my hook, it'd slide off, because you had to go down and under and then back up on. That one was a real pain. I just worked at it. Had to keep stopping while I was working on it so I wouldn't throw the deck across the garage. Because just as I was getting ready to put it up on there, it would slip off. So these aren't very user-friendly. Alright, there's one. I will go ahead and do the other one off camera. That way I don't have to cuss. Because this one, pretty much going to be about the same. I did have to cut the zippy to give me enough room, enough slack. Trust me, my hands aren't working the greatest today. I was going to put this off, but I didn't, because I need my bench. And I have all this little stuff laying all over the place on the bench. See, there's the 3 switches. Now, the problem, we have to take the top off to put this one belt on. So everything's got to come apart just so we can change that one. Isn't that nice? Alright, I'll fight with this and get this one put together. Just, I wanted to show you how it came apart again. Just because. Alright, let's see if we can get these back in. Deck A is going to be kind of a pain. Because we have our counter belt that goes on it. Goes under. Let's see if we can cheat. Yeah, wrap that sucker right around. Alright folks, there she is. We got play. That was deck A, deck B, rewind, I think deck A might still be a little, yeah, she's still a little sluggish on the rewind. But I'll keep messing with it and I'll get her loosened up. It's just from sitting. Alright, so that's going to do it for this one. Hope you enjoyed the video as much as I enjoyed making it for you. And this was our Technics stereo dual cassette deck RS-217. So I hope to see you on the next one. Until then, see ya.